Okay, we're a couple of minutes after, so let's get started. If anybody has any questions at any point along the way in the process, please drop them into the chat, raise your hand, or just interrupt. No worries whatsoever. Want to have as interactive a session as possible. So thanks everybody for joining us here today. Turn the camera on. Hi, my name is Joe Galimo. I'm one of the partners here at Impact Group, and our webinar today is on unlocking strategic growth, the power of fractional leadership. Just a couple of quick commercial messages about Impact Group to get us started. Here's a sampling of our clients. We cover the waterfront from small to medium-sized firms, startups, all the way to the Fortune 50. So pretty much whatever size your organization is, we can help you out. Here's just some quick examples. I'm not going to go through this, but I am going to send this out later if you're interested with some of the clients we worked with, some of the projects we worked on. So you've got some pretty broad expertise. And at a glance, again, we can pretty much cover the waterfront from an IT standpoint. The consulting services group is being represented here today. That's on the left-hand side. Technology services is also available, including managed service desk, security services, and those types of things. So, and I also wanted to highlight our Copilot AI implementation and development, which is a relatively new practice for us. We've helped a number of clients implement Copilot, roll it out either through a proof of concept or to a group of users, including the change management involved. We also identify use cases and develop custom Copilot Studio use cases through this practice, and be happy to work with you in that area as well. So I'd like to introduce Paul. Paul is a fractional CIO. He's been at this IT business for over 36 years and has over 2 decades in IT leadership roles in multiple different industries, including financial services, healthcare, nonprofits, and fintech. He's renowned for aligning technology strategy and business goals, driving digital transformation, addressing risk in IT initiatives, and enabling innovation. Successfully led very large integrations across complex platforms, cybersecurity strategy, multi-million-dollar modernization efforts, and he's a trusted advisor to CEOs, boards, and venture capital, emerging venture groups as well. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Paul.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Everybody can hear me okay? As Joe pointed out, we're going to talk today around fractional leadership as a whole, not just on the technology side. And we'll look at, again, what is fractional, why it's important now, or why it's having a big impact now to organizations, whether it's technology related, HR, marketing, operations, etc. I think you'll find that interesting and hopefully see that, okay, there could be a need there. Who should consider fractional? We'll talk about that. I've got a few real world examples to walk through, some ideas of when to use fractional leadership and just fractional as a whole, engagement models and misconceptions of it. And then final takeaways and if you're thinking about ready to explore fractional leadership, and then of course any Q&A at the end. And one thing to keep in mind when it comes to fractional, just think of, again, that's a term that's been around for a little bit, but it's now catching on. But really the focus is on demand leadership. When an organization doesn't need to have the full time because of the cost or for whatever reason, they just need somebody to come in on a regular basis, on a retention basis, on a project basis. So it's really on demand versus the cool term of fractional. So let's see, you can go ahead, Joe, to the next slide if you're controlling it.
Yeah, my name is Brandon Palinka. I'm the Director of Technology and Information Security at Cooley Bank. And I think that just as we continue to move on and staffing is a cost and everything's trying to be more lean and more efficient, that in technology and other areas we're leaned on to try to get more out of all of our program software and people.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Great. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. Oh, there's another one here, another person. If you could introduce yourself and unmute.
Yeah, my name is Bruce Jacobson, and I'm actually a consultant. And I see we personally experience this within our organization, but also see this with I think, universally across our clients. So
Good. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Anybody else before I kind of chime in a little bit? Okay. Appreciate it, you guys. I appreciate you opening it up and introducing yourselves as well. So from my perspective, when I have conversations with clients or potential clients, it really does, I ask this every conversation I have, especially over the last 6 months since I've been diving into this. And as the two of you mentioned, yeah, pretty much the answer has always been absolutely, right? We're trying to do more, we're asked to do more, and we just either can't get resources, or we just don't have enough resources, and maybe constraining that to get new ones. And so, for example, at one of the credit unions, he had told me, well, yeah, we do need, we know we need to, what we need to do, but we just don't have maybe the band, in this particular case, the leadership bandwidth to do it, because that leadership is doing more keeping the lights on. And the other piece of it is there's always so much going on that you're going to burn out the team. And so that clearly is a great example of this. But that's where fractional or on demand really comes into play, right? It's not just about filling a gap, but it's really about relieving pressure, maybe on the leadership team or the IT person leader or marketing leader, whatever the case is. It's about wanting to keep momentum going from a business perspective. We do want to go in this direction, but we can't right now. But we need to, because we want to grow, we want to reduce cost, whatever the case is. So it's about keeping momentum going, and then really having the team focus on what matters most. And that is obviously the growth, the cost factors, whatever reasons it is. And so having a fractional leadership person come in, fractional leader come in, really can focus in and hone in on those use cases where the CEO or business leaders want to drive that forward as best they can, but they can do it with an on-demand person to lead that way, go, get the organization through it, and then, set up the organization for it, and then, head out, plan for it, and hopefully even implement. So something to keep in mind there. Okay, next slide, Joe. So I think I've already covered this. Simple definition: part-time executive, full-time impact. And one thing about fractional leadership is it's really, there's a difference between a consultant, an hourly consultant, and a fractional leader consultant. And that is, a consultant specific to a project normally is hourly and is focused on the project. Maybe they're there to help deliver on it, whatever the case is, or they're coming in on an hourly basis to address whatever kind of need there is, probably from more of the operational side, whether it's technology, marketing, again, whatever the case is. The fractional piece is more, it's an executive level. In a sense, you're part of, or they are part of the leadership team. They focus in on outcomes, right? Not hourly rate, but of an outcome rate. You need an assessment done. You need you need security assessment done. You need an IT assessment done. You need a marketing assessment done, right? You go in as a fractional or a part-time executive, part of the leadership team for that short period of time, but you're delivering on outcomes, and you're proving that, and you're not delivering per hour. Okay, so it's almost a package deal. I'll do this for you in 30 days at this cost. Okay, and you can see the common roles: CIO, CISO. I won't have to go through all of those. You know what they all are. But it doesn't matter. It's really every organizational leader those areas have those on-demand and on-demand roles. And really the three biggest benefits that I've, at least when I've talked to people, when I've talked to organizations, when I've talked to other fractionals and myself, you know, one, you're coming in with the senior leader or senior level experience, probably many years of maybe chief XO or CXO kind of level leadership. Long term, you've been in that role for a long time. You can provide the flexibility. There's no long-term commitments, right? So you're not bringing in a fractional leader as a full-time executive with all the benefits and all the salary. You're bringing that person in a flexible way that you're driving the outcomes, and there's no long-term commitment to that individual. Do what you need to do and move on, or if you want, you can retain them for, you know, for help throughout a month or 2 or 6 months, but it's no long-term commitment. You're not paying salary and benefits, etc. And then the hope is, and it should be this way, since the fractional leader is focused on 1 or 2 or 3 things that you've as a business have set up as far as a set of use cases or your business strategy, boom, that person can really focus in on that and in turn have fast results versus waiting for operational issues to be addressed or other things that are focused on where people only can do it, you know, 5 hours a week. This person can come in, boom, deliver your outcome based upon what you determine is a 30, 60, 90 day, whatever, and deliver it fast. So again, when you look at fractional is equal to full-time impact at a part-time cost. Go ahead, Joe. So why now? And I think from everyone's on this call's perspective, especially into 2025 here, I think a lot of organizations, no matter the industry, I think there's, at least I've heard through my network of clients or potential clients or other fractionals and consultants, there's this, you know, right now well, I don't know how 2025, we're halfway through the year, but I still don't, I'm a little worried about where things are going. So we're kind of holding back on the budget perspective. Yeah, we have a budget, but we just want to be careful in how we spend. So we're holding off on that or whatever the case is. There's complex technology. In this particular case, maybe at the organization itself, where you're looking at legacy-based systems that aren't integrated very well. Everybody's introducing AI to the world. What does that mean for me as an organization? There's risk because of existing legacy-based systems or existing business processes. There's manual processes that need to be addressed. So it's a perfect storm of why fractional, that part-time leadership and outcome delivery is really, it's a perfect storm for them to come in now and really help you focus on the priorities that you need to. There's a talent gap so that people that do want to hire, they're finding it hard to hire. Maybe the skill set is a little bit more difficult, especially if you think about it from an AI perspective. And then harder to find the right fit. You know, you're a culture, you've got a business culture, and you're finding it a little bit hard to find the right fit for a permanent person. And therefore, you know, it would be good to say, I just need somebody come in to do this, and we'll see how it goes. And then fractional fills the gap between urgent needs and full-time hires. I mentioned this before. You want to address something, you want to make a quick impact. That's where the fractional leadership or the on-demand leadership comes into place, and it avoids, at least for now, the full-time hire and the whole benefits and, you know, all of those kinds of, especially of a chief XO. I mean, there's a lot of cost to that, and you don't need that when you know you're going to focus in on certain accomplishments that you want to do. Go ahead, Joe. So who should consider fractional leadership? Again, especially like for me, I'm in a space of financial services. I focus in on growing and community-driven banks and credit unions. So they're smaller in nature. They may have less tech folks, engaged or on staff. And those staff people are kind of focusing in on keeping the lights on, including the leader. And so the idea there is organizations that want to grow, but they feel like they're constrained in certain areas, whether it's technology, whether it's marketing, operations, whatever the case is. And they're not quite ready yet because of the cost for a full-time hire. So we can still achieve things with fractional or with on-demand leadership, which then kind of pauses hiring the full-time perspective, but at least we can move it along and then determine, do we need somebody full-time doing these specific areas? A lot of companies, especially as you know, around even on the financial services side, but there's so many other areas, companies tackling compliance, modernization. There's a lot of organizations that feel like they have stalled projects, right? They just don't have enough resources to get to the finish line, or they have, systems in place or processes in place that are legacy and they're not efficient or they break. And so guess what? The staff have to focus in on that and have no time to focus in on where the goals, the new goals should be achieved and such. And then teams needing strategic direction, but lacking internal bandwidth. Again, maybe at the CEO or CO level, there's the strategic direction, and folks below that are saying, well, that's great, but we just don't have the bandwidth. We're stressing people out and things aren't getting done, or existing things, operational things are breaking because we don't have the right bandwidth. So those are the three factors, or three of the top factors where you should consider a fractional or on-demand leader. Okay, Joe. So here's my next a set here of questions on this slide. So before we kind of jump back in, I'd love to get a quick pulse. And again, you don't have to you can put in the chat, or you can just unmute and feel free to chat. So love to get a quick pulse from the group. Are there roles you have not filled today due to cost or uncertainty? Anybody on the call that has that? Okay, so again, I hear this a lot. We don't need to buy a tool, we won't use or can't manage. So therefore, why invest in the cost? Again, whether that's AI, digital transformation, especially in the financial services area, bringing in outside help. It comes down to trust factor. There's a lot of reasons why they're not bringing in roles. And then the next question: what is the one common concern from clients, customers, members, or prospects regarding your digital tools, AI or fractional support? Anything there specific to your customers that you're hearing as an organization that you wish you could fill from, where maybe you have somebody on demand that can help you deal with some of those issues? Anybody have those issues? Okay. Again, the focus there is on making sure you're efficient at what you need based upon what you're hearing, right? And if you feel you're getting behind, especially with AI, for example, you want to make sure you can deliver on that and be able to focus on that. And again, on demand can help you with that. And then the last question: if you had to get double the results for your clients in half the time, what's the first thing you'd adjust in your go-to market strategy? Anybody would want to share that? Okay, one of the fractional leaders that's part of my network had said, I would stop customizing everything, really advising not to customize everything, and lead with a set of products that offer standardization, that are easier to use, and really are just consistent, right? You're not, the company may not be special. There's a lot of companies that do the same thing. So really focus in on where you can make the most impact, where you have that competitive advantage. Finding platforms, again, including AI kinds of related things, or existing systems that have AI, put those types of things in because they work, they're existing. You don't have to customize and don't have to reinvent the wheel. Every time you think you want to be able to double your results for your clients, analyze what's out there, what's efficient, what can be delivered by your platforms, or replace the platform so that it can the new one can deliver. But that's where you should kind of focus in on. Okay, Joe. So these are just a couple of slides, a few slides around different industries. And the reason I wanted to bring these slides up is because, it's in all industries, right? In this case, this slide is for healthcare, social assistance, or there's financial services, or whatever the case is. So there's fractional niches, fractional leaders in all these areas. So with healthcare and social assistance, technology often falls behind how fast care needs are delivered. Staff is relying on outdated systems, slowing down care and raising risk. I'm at a client right now that, their focus is on what are the things that we can do, and they're in behavioral, and what's the focus there specific to their therapists, their specialists, etc. How can technology make things better? How can we fix their manual processes in current state versus future state, Lean Six Sigma, those kinds of things. That's one real life example. And then here's another one, the CIO, Fractional CIO, helped a provider to digitize over 25,000 paper records in 90 days, reducing HIPAA risks and launching virtual care. That's pretty awesome. Cut the HIPAA-related audit findings by 75%. And then, of course, launched secure virtual care, increasing patient access by 40%. Part of that was because of COVID, and that just continued on. And as you all know, probably, including with your medical providers, virtual appointments are very, very common now, and has been, again, patient access has increased significantly. So the engagement discussion really comes around who owns the upgrades, the risk, and the compliance. That has to be answered. Many teams are unsure who's in charge, leading to delays, gaps, missed deadlines. There needs to be clear roles, better outcomes. A fractional leader can focus in on that and help answer those questions so that the challenge can be met and the gaps can be closed. Next slide. Technology sector, again, a lot of this lately, at least from what I'm hearing from folks out there in the industry, the challenge is really around startups that want to grow fast, or they think they need to grow fast. They may not have systems. They may not have leaders in place, and that's difficult to find and difficult to implement. They're hitting roadblocks with slow systems, high cloud costs, and an unclear direction. So in the example that I have here, the CTO delivered results, fast results around, hey, okay, what is your cloud environment? Let's get that stabilized. And then they were able to cut the downtime because they've either moved on-prem pieces over to the cloud, or they've built better vendor relationships, so they've cut the downtime by 80%. They started integrating AI tools making sure the business understands what that is. What is the definition of AI tools? And also to work through the use cases that are really focused in on manual tasks. How can we automate that? What are those AI integrations? What the platforms that we have, how many of those have AI pieces built to it? Or do we have to do something even from a customized perspective because we know we're going to get a good rate of return? And they launched, in this case, they launched a working system to build, test, and release software faster and more reliably in the 90-day period, and reducing the time it takes to release new features or updates. That's huge from a technology perspective. The quicker you can get to product delivery, the better, including minimal viable products. But most importantly, when you release faster, the quality has to be there. So you probably have to also include automated testing, those kinds of things, because you don't want to release even an MVP out into the world if it's not working. So the key insight here is the real gap wasn't more coding, but really stronger leadership, engagement with the cloud systems, the clear vision, accountability, vendor management, making sure that accountability with the team, accountability with the vendors was set and cast in stone to allow people to move faster. Next slide. And then financial services, kind of my area. And so in this particular case, a lot of the financial institutions struggle with outdated systems, audit and regulatory pressures, meeting regulatory issues, cybersecurity rules, and this results for years into missed updates, risky vendors, and unclear plans that leave gaps. One of the CISOs, again, the security officer, helped a $900 million credit union, which was small, again, pass NCUA exam and state exams with 0 major findings. They cut third-party risk by 60% through better vendor performance reviews and holding of accountability, and built response plans that reduced incident recovery time by 50%. So even the basic things that an organization must have, right, especially in the financial services side, regulatory, disaster recovery or big business impact analysis, better vendor relationships, those things really can impact a small organization like a credit union. And then the question here is, are your security and compliance plans ready or just on paper? And again, auditors, if they showed up, for example, tomorrow or even 6 months from now, would you be confident in showing that you have those capabilities from a compliance perspective, and you've done it, you've tested it, and you can show that, trust but verify, versus just being on paper. And again, these are for small organizations. There's manufacturing piece. Go ahead. I know I'm running out of time. So manufacturing, there's a slide here on manufacturing. Go ahead, Joe. You can move to the manufacturer. There you go. Again, I won't, now that I know I'm probably running a little bit short on time. Again, manufacturing, the challenge there, especially in manufacturing, legacy systems, outdated processes, supply chain issues. Those are companies, and they're probably small too, small manufacturing, where they could use a fractional leader coming in, especially in a CTO role, to help lead transformation of moving to the cloud and off-prem, no more data centers, improving the uptime, ERP platform being upgraded, maybe also move to the cloud, automating current data entry pieces, and then launching a small factory pilot, right? Get boots on the ground in the manufacturing space itself, and begin piloting how you can improve overall production. But also with that comes change management, organizational change management that says we got to bring these people in early so that they understand and want to accept there's going to be process change in the future. Next slide. So when to use fractional leadership? Stalled projects, I talked about that. Big plans, but nothing's moving. A fractional leader can jump in based upon the priorities and your use cases to unblock the team, to maybe take some of that on, right? Or take it all on as a leader as well as an executioner, and get things done without adding full-time staff. That's huge because you're not paying the salaries and the benefits. Security and compliance is really trust. If you lose sleep over audits, cyber threats, messy policies, a fractional CISO can come in quickly, tighten those controls, do assessments, and reduce the risk. Vendor chaos. You maybe have too many tools from a vendor perspective, too many platforms. You have vendors that just don't perform and you can't even tell that they're not performing per se, or you think they're not, and so prove it. So a fractional leader can come in, look at contracts. How do we save money? What's their SLAs? Are they holding to those SLAs? If not, it's time to look elsewhere. Missing strategies. Teams are working hard, but no one is steering the ship. A fractional leader brings clarity, goals, and a roadmap. That's a big piece, especially if it's a technology strategy. You want to make sure it's aligned with the business side. And then new growth, but no leadership. You're growing really fast. You're a small organization, but don't have the right technology or the security leadership in place. So the fractional role can come in, take that leadership on, be able to build it, establish it, and then be able to hand it off. And while the rest of the organization is still moving forward and growing fast, that's the important piece. You don't have to wait for somebody to free up to do it, or for somebody to be hired. You can bring in this on-demand or fractional role and be able to fill that gap and be successful quickly. Next slide. So this is an example of what I meant, not hourly, but more outcome-based when it comes to fractional. Oftentimes, a fractional go in, like myself, would go in and say, okay, we're going to do a 30-day diagnostic. We're going to be able to see, or discovery phase, what's happening today, what's the current state, what do you want to accomplish, what's your use cases, be able to build strategic roadmaps. Okay, in this particular case, the business strategy is strong, but technology or any other types of strategies just don't really align. Let's get that done. Set priorities and then execute. You may need temporary or interim leadership. So you may need temporary executive role that can help and then still have that, maintain that full-time impact, be able to make decisions. Project-based oversight, lead and deliver key initiatives. Again, you can still provide that around outcomes versus hourly. And then even on a retainer basis, right, they can come in and say, hey, I can give you 10, 20 hours per month. You can use me however you want. Give me a call. You can call me anytime. So the guidance is there and the support is flexible. So those are just kind of 5 high-level real engagement models that other fractionals have used and then I've also established. Next slide. And then the slide around misconception versus reality. It's not just consulting, as I said, it's about the fractional leaders. They lead. They're part of the leadership team for the time that they're there. They integrate with your team, right? Whether they're HR or IT or marketing, they're within the team and they're part of the senior leadership team. And they have defined timelines. They follow defined timelines, real deliverables. They have a clear entry and exit and have measurable outcomes. That's huge. They're not there to, I'm a consultant and so I'm going to be there for the next 3 years because, no. You come in, boom, you do the work and you show the outcomes and they're measurable. And if there's a retainer, great. If not, move on and let's hope the organization takes it from there. Okay, and then final takeaways. You don't need a full-time exec for full-time results. You need the right leader at the right time. Start small, think big, and move fast. Those are really some 3 takeaways around fractional leadership. Next slide. And if you're ready to explore fractional leadership, and see if it's you can be part of your organization. Let's talk about your current challenges, learn how fractional leadership can accelerate your roadmap, share with us that. You can feel free to schedule a 30-day diagnostic or assessment. All you have to do is contact Joe at Impact Group and we can get started. Next slide.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
Yep, there you go.
I appreciate you going through that. Before I address some of the other items, any follow-up questions or topics anybody'd like to cover quickly? We do have actually a few minutes. If not, I'm just going to continue on. If anybody has anything, be sure to raise your hand or put something in the chat. If in terms of working with Impact Group, as Paul just said, just some quick notes. We do have we've been in business for over 34 years now, delivering high impact consulting. Our relationship focus, so we like to work directly with the clients and understand what their specific needs are and tailor our solutions to those needs. We can cover pretty much everything in the IT world that you might be interested in resolving. We do have a methodology that's been proven over the years that we can bring to bear. And we also address change management issues. Not everybody remembers to do that. And so we make sure that end users are addressed and comfortable with the change that IT can sometimes bring. We're independent and unbiased. And hopefully we've demonstrated thought leadership at people like Paul bring to the table. We do have another webinar coming up. We're actually taking a little bit of time off here in July. We've got one on August 14th. It's on Odoo, which is a business operating system. It's essentially an open source competitor to SAP. There was a recent investment by Alphabet, which came out of Google, and they do have over 15 million users worldwide, $25 a month per user to access all of their modules. So it's a pretty comprehensive, cost-effective solution if you're interested. And then there's some recordings of previous webinars on these topics: Copilot, process improvement, transformation, and EPMO at our website, which is at this link. So with that, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who participated. Paul, thank you for presenting, and have a good day.
Nice to meet you all virtually. Take care.